Welcome to BOJ's Trending News for top stories in local, regional and international news, along with sports and local weather forecast. I'm Carla. Coming up in our local trending news, toll rates on the east-west leg of the Highway 2000 are to be increased. A $17 million drainage project delays the traffic for Institution Drive in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth. Another illegal firearm seized along the Spanish Town bypass, and Hanover Road taxi operator arrested and charged for stealing his girlfriend's licensed firearm, granted $250,000 bail. Now the details. The toll rates on the east-west leg of the Highway 2000 are to be increased next Saturday, July 6. The increase will apply to motorists travelling in all class of vehicles, with the highest increase being $10 for Class 3 vehicles that uses the Vineyard toll. The total now moves to $1,320. Class 1 vehicles that uses a Spanish Town and Maypen toll will see the rate go up by $10 each, with the price moving to $170 and $120 respectively. The $10 increase for those legs of the highway is the lowest of all the price adjustments. The National Works Agency NWA is reporting that it will be restricting vehicular access to Institution Drive in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth starting tomorrow, June 29, due to a $17 million drainage improvement project. The NWA said the project, which began in April, has been extended to a section of the Santa Cruz bypass. The restriction will continue for the next 3 weeks. The NWA's Community Relations Officer for the agency's southern region, Howard Hendricks, explained that the restriction is to facilitate the installation of new drainage features along a section of the roadway. On completion, the agency noted that the works should greatly improve drainage along the typically flood-prone area. During the period of restriction, vehicles seeking to access Institution Drive will be diverted onto Main Street or the Santa Cruz bypass. The police are reporting the seizure of one 12-gauge shotgun along with one round of ammunition during an operation on the Spanish Town bypass in St. Catherine on Thursday. The Spanish Town police reported that a team of officers searched a premises around 11:30 a.m. and found the Surefire 12-gauge shotgun in bushes. No one was arrested in relation to this seizure. The Hanover police have now released the identity of a man who lost his life in a motor vehicle accident which took place along the Hanover leg of the North Coast Highway in Lucy, Hanover last evening. He has been identified as Roger Gale of Cordwell in Green Island, Hanover. Another man, Tevin Williams, 24-year-old bartender of Mount Pelly Sandy Bay, was also injured in the crash and is still at hospital in serious condition. Reports are that about 3 p.m., Gale was riding a black and red Happy Work Special Edition CE 150 motorcycle along a section of the highway at Point towards Lucy. On reaching the vicinity of the Grand Palladium Resort, he failed to keep to his side of the roadway and drifted in the path of a Toyota Corolla motorcar being driven by Williams. One of Gale's hand was completely severed and he crashed on the road surface, while Williams lost control and crashed into a tree. Both victims were seriously injured and were rushed to the Nowell Holmes Hospital, where Gale was pronounced dead and Williams admitted in serious condition. 31-year-old Mervyn Jarrett, otherwise called Kids Meal, who was arrested and charged last week for allegedly stealing his girlfriend's licensed firearm, was granted bail when he appeared before the Hanover Parish Court earlier this week. Jarrett, who resides in New Mills District in Hanover, was issued bail in the sum of $250,000 with sureties and is to report to the Sandy Bay Police Station 3 times each week. Reports are that between June 15 to 16, Jarrett slept at his girlfriend's home, who is a security guard. After the accused man left that morning, the female discovered that her licensed firearm was missing and filed a report to the police. Jarrett was taken into custody and then charged with larceny from a dwelling. Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister Senator the Honourable Kamina Johnson-Smith departed the island for Maldian, Colombia, where she is participating in the 49th regular session of the General Assembly of the Organizations of American States. A 3-day meeting is to be held under the theme, Innovating to Strengthen Multilateralism in the Hemisphere. Minister Johnson-Smith is supported by a delegation from the ministry, as well as representatives of the Permanent Mission of Jamaica to the OAS and the Embassy of Jamaica in Colombia. Those were your top stories making local trending news. Now join us for news from across the region, as well as our international stories, sports and local weather forecast. From across the region, Caribbean Community CARICOM leaders will meet next week with the implementation of measures to enhance the CARICOM single market and economy, the CSME, high on the agenda. The CSME, which allows for the free movement of goods, skills, labour and services across the region, was the main topic for a special CARICOM summit held in Trinidad and Tobago in December last year. At the end of the special summit, the regional leaders issued the St. Anne's Declaration that indicated that the CSME is still regarded as being the most viable platform to support the region's growth and development agenda. Among the recommendations contained in the declaration is for a more formalized, structured mechanism for engagement with the region's private sector and labour, the expansion of the categories of skilled nationals entitled to move freely and work within the community to include agricultural workers, beauty service practitioners, barbers and security guards. In international news, the U.S. Supreme Court today agreed to hear a challenge to President Donald Trump's attempt to shut down a program that shields hundreds of thousands of young undocumented immigrants from deportation. The nation's highest court agreed to hear arguments in the case during its October term, with a decision expected next year at the height of the 2020 presidential election. President Barack Obama signed an executive order in 2012 protecting the young immigrants known as dreamers from deportation, but Trump, who takes a hardline stance on immigration, moved to end the program after taking office. The Supreme Court will rule on the legality of the Trump administration's effort to end the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, which extends protection to the estimated 700,000 dreamers. Over in our sporting report, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport Olivia Grange has renewed her call for corporate Jamaica to support Netball Jamaica. Ms. Grange's appeal came on the eve of the departure of the Sunshine Girls for the Netball World Cup in Liverpool, England. The minister said the government is at the forefront in providing the funding needed by Netball Jamaica, noting that a £20,000 grant was made through the Sports Development Foundation to cover fees for participation in Netball World Cup, as well as $2.5 million to cover travel costs to England. The minister also noted that for years netball has been the leading team sport in Jamaica, and now we have overtaken England to be the number 3 ranked nation in the world of netball. Ms. Grange reminded that this was not the first time that she was making the appeal for more support for the team, but she hoped that this time there would be a significantly greater response. On our local weather forecast, insignificant feature trough across Jamaica. The trough is expected to drift to the west and away from the island by later this evening. Thereafter, a high-pressure ridge is expected to slowly build across the region and will become the dominant feature. Expect windy conditions beginning this afternoon due to the low-level jet stream across the central Caribbean. The forecast for this afternoon will see isolated showers and thunderstorms mainly across central and western parishes. It will be windy along coastal areas of southern parishes. Tonight, partly cloudy. Maximum temperature expected for Kingston as well as Montego Bay today is 33 degrees Celsius. That was BOJTV's Trending News, your top local, regional and international stories, as well as a sports report and weather forecast. Until next time, I'm Carla. Thanks for watching. Welcome to BOJ's Trending News for top stories in local, regional and international stories, with sports and a local weather forecast. I'm Carla. Coming up in our local news, Tourism Minister says the country has surpassed the 2 million mark for arrivals at the end of May. NWC ramps up actions against illegal and delinquent customers. Curfew extended in Central Village, St. Catherine. Security Minister reiterates commitment to fighting human trafficking. Now the details. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Jang has reiterated the government's commitment to support and implement strategies that will tackle human trafficking. The minister made the reassurance at the launch of the Human Trafficking Survivors Handbook and e-learning platform at the AC Marriott Hotel in Kingston. In addressing the participants, Mr. Chang says, under my stewardship, there will be renewed energies funneled into combating the scourge of human trafficking. The minister noted that Jamaica is currently reported as a hub for human trafficking and has a Tier 2 ranking in the fight against trafficking in persons TIP by the U.S. Department of State. The minister added that a holistic and comprehensive response to human trafficking must not only be guided by the U.S. State Department's report, but also by the recommendation of the Office of National Rapporteur and Trafficking in Persons to enhance a country's anti-human trafficking profile. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett reported that Jamaica surpassed the 2 million mark at the end of May, making it the first time the country has welcomed that many visitors before the halfway mark in its calendar year. According to Minister Bartlett, this has resulted in earnings of close to $1.7 billion US. He further stated that the scheme will benefit the nearly 350,000 full-time, part-time, self-employed and contract workers across the industry. This will benefit the craft vendors, due to drivers, the raft men and red caps at the airport. The National Water Commission (NWC) is reporting that it is taking a zero-tolerance approach against persons who are classified as being delinquent or illegally using water and who fail to take up NWC's offer for settlement of outstanding balances on their accounts. Consequently, the water supply entity is now actively pursuing such persons via vigorous disconnections as well as with prosecutions and arrests. In May 2019, a total of 14 individuals were prosecuted for various offences related to the illegal use of water and are currently being processed to appear before the courts in order to answer to these charges. Additionally, civil lawsuits are also being prepared for another 36 delinquents who have failed to make settlements with the NWC. Several operations carried out across the Eastern Division by the NWC's team have uncovered over 219 illegal connections, while another 1,963 inactive accounts have been targeted for follow-up action to address outstanding balances valued at over Jamaican $187 million. During the period, the NWC also served 641 notice letters advising of the intention to commence court action for recovery of balances, while another 403 accounts were back to charge for a total of $5,942,920 for the illegal use of water on an existing account. Those actions include bypass connections as well as illegal tampering. Therefore, the NWC is urging persons to take advantage of its Welcome Back program, which is targeted at providing easier access for inactive and illegal users to have their supplies reconnected and become compliant customers. The 48-hour curfew that was imposed in sections of Central Village, St. Catherine on Monday, June 24 to Wednesday, June 26 has been extended. The curfew will now remain in effect until Friday, June 28. The boundaries of the curfew are as follows. Along an imaginary line in the vicinity of the Jamaica Defence Force range from the western border to Windsor Heights open field on the eastern border. Along an imaginary line running parallel to the eastbound lane of the Mandela Highway from Astrom on the western border to the National Water Commission pump house on the eastern border, along an imaginary line from the northern border vicinity of Windsor Heights open field to the National Water Commission pump house vicinity, the southern border which runs along the eastbound section of the Mandela Highway, along an imaginary line traveling from Windsor Heights running parallel to the Jamaica Defence Force range to Astrom vicinity on the Mandela Highway. During the hours of the curfew, all persons within the boundaries are required to remain within their premises unless authorized in writing by the ground commander. The Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica, the PCJ, through its Energy Efficiency and Conservation Program, will be carrying out air conditioning and retrofit projects at 3 Jamaica Constabulary Force locations at a combined cost of $126.5 million to improve energy efficiency and conservation at the facilities. The contract signed with the Geddes Refrigeration Limited will see the installation of air conditioning units at the JCF's Mobile Reserve in Kingston, Maypen Divisional Headquarters in Clarendon, and the National Police College in Twickenham Park, St. Catherine. Under the contract, all facilities will benefit from the installation of energy-efficient air conditioning systems that utilize variably refrigerant flow, technology, which regulates airflow in response to building occupancy and conditions. The systems will include a state-of-the-art web-enabled building management system, which will be used for monitoring and verification of data, as well as cool roof solutions. Additional repairs will be done to the building's envelope at the Maypen Divisional Headquarters. An inverter mini-split AC units will be installed in isolated sections of the mobile reserve. Upon completion of the installations, which are scheduled to take 12 months, it is anticipated that there will be an overall reduction in electricity consumption and operating costs at the locations. Those were your top stories making local trending news. Now join us for news from across the region, as well as our international stories, sports and local weather forecast from across the region. A shark attack has killed a Southern California woman vacationing in the Bahamas. Royal Bahamas Police Force Deputy Commissioner Paul Roll said 21-year-old Jordan Lindsay of Torrance was attacked by 3 sharks on Wednesday near Rose Island while snorkeling with her family. KABC-TV says Lindsay's parents and other family members saw the sharks and yelled a warning, but she did not hear them in time. Officials say her arms, legs and buttocks were bitten and her right arm was severed. She was pronounced dead at hospital. The Bahamas Ministry of Tourism and Aviation issued a statement expressing its condolences and deepest sympathies to the family. In international news, car maker Ford said today it is shedding 12,000 jobs in Europe as it streamlines operation in the region to increase profitability. The job cuts are part of a broader restructuring that includes the already announced closure of 6 plants in Europe. Ford is reducing its total number of plants in the region to 18 as it reorganizes its business into 3 divisions: commercial vehicles, passenger cars, and imports of Ford models such as the Mustang. Ford of Europe said that the positions in Europe would be eliminated mostly by voluntary separation programs through the end of 2020. Some 2,000 lost jobs will be salaried positions, part of 7,000 white-collar jobs being cut as part of global restructuring by the company based in Dearborn, Michigan. Over in our sporting report, the world #1 sprint hurdler Janique Brown has signed a professional contract with Puma and has gone pro. She reportedly signed her contract last Thursday night, the same day of the start of Jamaica's national championships, to select a team to the IAAF World Championships in Doha, Qatar. The 21-year-old Brown, a sophomore at the University of Arkansas, has set a world lead in 12.40 seconds, that is, to win the 2019 NCAA title, setting a new Jamaican national record in the process. However, she was unable to show her talents at the JAAA National Championships in Kingston on Sunday after the 100-meter final was aborted. The former Wolmerian posted the news of her decision to join the professional ranks on Twitter on Wednesday evening. On our local weather forecast for this morning, insignificant feature tropical wave west of Jamaica. As the tropical wave continues to drift further west and away from the island, a high pressure ridge is expected to slowly build across the region, becoming the dominant feature by Friday evening. Expect windy conditions beginning tomorrow afternoon due to a low-level jet stream across the central Caribbean. The forecast for this morning will see mostly cloudy skies. During this afternoon, widely scattered showers and thunderstorms, mainly across central and western parishes. Tonight, partly cloudy. Maximum temperature expected for Kingston as well as Montego Bay today is 33 degrees Celsius. That was BOJTV's Trending News, your top local, regional and international stories, as well as sports report and weather forecast. Until next time, I'm Carlo. Thanks for watching.